now today 50 questions will be from the world literature. We have already finished the Indian literature and studies class. So let's start with question number 101. Which poet
Thomas
illustrates
Dickens.
empathy in these
Oh,
lines? A sparrow comes before my window. I take part in its existence and speak about the gravel. So from the quotation, it looks like these lines are not from a poem. It's not a poetic line. That is very clear. It's a prose line. But which poet illustrates this? I'm not getting any responses by any one of you. Okay, the right answer is John Keats. You can type in the message box your answer. Right answer is John Keats. While writing the letters to his friends, he has written letters to his brothers and his friends as well, where he has coined the terms like egotistical, sublime, negative capability, etc. So in those letters itself, he has written about his personality, how nature friendly he is, that if a sparrow comes before his window, he will take its resistance and pick out the gravel to feed the sparrow. So John Keats is the right answer to this question. Okay, the next question is from Charles Dickens. Question number 102.
The Lay Hunt.
Leigh Hunt. Yes, Leigh Hunt is absolutely right. You need to type your answer in the chat box. That will be easy for me, and it will also help other scholars to answer. Okay, so all of you kindly send your answer in the chat box. Harold Skimpole is a character, uh, not the main character, but is the friend of Jarndyce. Jarndyce. And there is a phrase called Jarndyce and Jarndyce. Jarndyce and Jarndyce. Jarndyce and Jarndyce is a case, a court case, law case in this bleak house. And Jarndyce is the person who is living in the bleak house. And Harold Skimpole is the friend of Jarndyce. And by nature, Harold Skimpole is very crude, very cruel, and sadistic personality. And he is represented as the caricature of Leigh Hunt. There is also a description of Court of Chancery. That is also maybe an important point from exam point of view. Okay, now let's move on to question number 103. The New Pygmalion is a work by New Pygmalion is also having another title, Liber Amoris. It was published in the year 1823. Liber Amoris. It is written by William Hazlitt. I didn't get any right answer to this question. William Hazlitt is the right answer. Okay, let's move on to question number 104. Matthew Arnold, Culture and Anarchy. In which society does Arnold places himself in Culture and Anarchy? Very famous question. repeated so many times in NET exams. Yes, Sumana, you're absolutely right. Arnold places himself in the category of Philistines. The three categories that he divided the entire society: barbarians, the top class; Philistines, the middle class; and populace, the lower class. And he places himself in the middle class as Philistines. So Philistines is the right answer. Okay, next question. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Yes, Tanmay, Amrita, Momita, all of you are right. It was published in the year 1818, and the preface of this novel was written by her husband, P.B. Shelley. The other title of Frankenstein was The Modern Prometheus. Okay, let's move on to question number 106. Arrange the following in the chronological order. One zero six. So, as you know, that all these odes were written by John Keats in the year 1819. So, what kind of chronology he is asking about? When all these odes were published together, they have some chronology in the book. They're not asking the chronology of the publication. All the odes were published in a single anthology, that is in 1819. But they were having a just like a chapter 1, 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5. Likewise, they are asking the chronology, in which chronology they appeared in the anthology. So in the anthology, the first one was Ode on a Grecian Urn. So this was the first in the book, first in the number. And the second one was Ode in Indolence. That is already at the second place. The third one was Ode to Melancholy. And the fourth one was Ode to Nightingale. Fifth one was Ode to Psyche. Ode to Autumn did not appear in the first edition of the Odes of Anthology. It was later added on. It was not at the part of the Odes. That's why you can find here to Autumn. It is not a part of the Ode. So it may be marked as number 6. So by this, the first option is right, 426153. I didn't get right answer to this question. Okay, let's move on to question number 107, Life of Charlotte Bronte. This is the title of the biography of Charlotte Bronte, Life of Charlotte Bronte. You have to identify who is the biographer. It's a bit typical question. The biographer is Mrs. Elizabeth Gaskell. Yes, Sumana and Amrita, both of you are right. Mrs. Elizabeth Gaskell is absolutely right. Next question, News from Nowhere. Again, repeated question from NET exam. News from Nowhere, which is combines a utopian socialism and science fiction. It's written by whom? News from Nowhere. Yes, Amrita and Tanmay, both of you are right. William Morris is the right answer. Next, go to parliamentary novels or political novels. They are also known as Palliser novel. Why this is known as Palliser novels? Because the main character in all these novels is Plantagenet Palliser. All these novels of Arnold Bennett Arnold Bennett. No, sorry, it's Anthony Trollope. Yes, right. It's not Arnold Bennett, it's Anthony Trollope. So Anthony Trollope has written the Parliamentary Novels or the Palliser novels. The main characters in all these novels are the Plantagenet Palliser. So all of you are right. Amrita, Sumana, Momita, all of you are right. It is also called as political novel. Vimla, can you mute yourself? Okay. Okay, let's move on to the next question. 110. Elliptical style. Elliptical style is a kind of a style which is very difficult to understand. So a kind of easy question. If you don't know elliptical style, you don't read the question, you can well identify the odd one out. If you, I ask you to find odd one out of the four, you will choose Robert Browning because of his style of writing in the dramatic monologue form, where there is the listener, the audience is unknown, he is absent, and there is only one person who is narrating the point. So Robert Browning is the right answer. Tanmay, Sumana, Revati, all of you are right.
Okay. Sir, it is because he has been using so many Latin dialects in his poetry, I think.
Yeah, that is true,
Not me.
right? But elliptical, see, elliptical style means something which is very difficult to understand. This was coined by Stephen Burt. This term, elliptical style, was coined by Stephen Burt, B-U-R-T, in the year 1998. So Stephen Burt has coined the term elliptical style, and he has said that some poets like Dickinson and W.H. Auden should be counted as the elliptical writers. He has not mentioned about Robert Browning. But yes, some of the critics, while reviewing the work of Robert Browning, Sordello, when they were doing the review of the Sordello, they have asked that this poem is having the style of ellipsis or elliptical style of writing. So Robert Browning is the right answer. Next, move on to Charles Dickens' novel. You have to arrange in the chronological order according to the year of publication. Pickwick Paper is the first novel of Charles Dickens. Pickwick Papers, the first novel of Charles Dickens that was published in the year 1836. The full title is The Posthumous Papers of the Pickwick Club. The second one is Nicholas Nickleby, that is published in 1839. The third one is David Copperfield, that was published in 1849. The complete title of David Copperfield is The Personal History, Adventures, Experience, and Observations of David Copperfield, the younger of Blunderstone Rookery. That is the complete title. And the last in this series, the last novel is Great Expectations, 1861. But this is not the last novel. This is the 13th novel of Charles Dickens. Altogether, he has written 16 novels. The last novel was Edwin Drood. Edwin Drood. That was published in the year 1870. This is the year in which Charles Dickens died, and because of his death, this last novel remained unfinished. So sometimes it also may become an important question, which is the incomplete work of Charles Dickens. So it is Edwin Drood, which is the last novel of Charles Dickens. So first option is the right option according to the year of publication. So Momita, Revati, Sumana, all of you are absolutely right. Let's move on to the next question. a bit deep question. Which of the following poems by Tennyson begins with the words "I hate"? So if you read the poems, then only you can solve these questions. Yes, Tanmay, Sumana, both of you are absolutely right. The poem is Maud. It starts with the word "I hate." Okay, let's move on to the next question. Thackeray's Vanity Fair. Let me identify the genre. Vanity Fair was published in the year 1848. The protagonists of this novel are Becky Sharp and Emilia Sedley. Yes, it is a social satire. Tanmay, Amrita, Momita, all of you are right. It is a social satire. Okay, next question 114. It's about Virginia Woolf. Mr. Bennet and Mrs. Brown. In my PDF, complete information about Mr. Bennet and Mrs. Brown is given. If you have gone through, you'll be able to solve this question. The right answer is it is about the contemporary deterioration of England. The condition of England was going down, and because of that, he has characters Mr. Bennet and
Sir, sir, it is not written in the A Room for One on Mr. Bennett and
no,
Mrs. Brown.
it is a separate essay. It is a separate essay. If
Okay, sir.
you open
I
the
confused
PDF,
it.
you open the PDF of Virginia Woolf, and you will find this complete information about this in the PDF. Also,
So
so
it
it is
has
about
been addressed to somebody, no, some, and I don't remember the name. It has been
yeah,
addressed.
it is
You told.
yeah. It is addressed. Mr. Bennet is taken as a fictional character, and that fictional character is addressing some political character.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so contemporary England, deterioration of contemporary England is the right answer. Let's move on to question number 115. A quite new term, Chinese box structure. Which of the following novel has a Chinese box structure? I know all of you are aware about all these options. But if you're not aware about the Chinese box structure, very difficult to solve this. Chinese box structure. Okay, I'll give you a clue. Chinese box structure is like a box, which one box can be fitted inside the other, like this. So this is the Chinese box. A box inside the box inside the box. You keep on opening the box, a smaller box will coming out. That is a Chinese box. So here it means there is a big plot, and inside there is another plot. Inside there is another plot. Inside there is another plot. That is what is not a Chinese box structure. No. So now I hope you have got the idea, and now you can solve the question very easily. Yes, so Wuthering Heights, which is having a lots of narrative. So because of that, Wuthering Height is the Chinese box structure novel. That's the right answer. Okay, let's move on to question number 116. In Jude the Obscure, Jude Fowley dreams of going to the which university? Jude Fowley is the protagonist. So she is planning to go to a university. What is the name of the university? Okay, if you're not able to recall, I'll tell you the name of the university is Christminster University. Okay, let's move to question number 117. The Truth About an Author is a literary autobiography of. Do you have any idea? No, I cannot get any answer. That's the autobiography of Arnold Bennett. The Truth About an Author is the autobiography of Arnold Bennett. Okay, let's move on to question 118. which is an imaginative biography of Elizabeth Barrett Browning's Cocker Spaniel, which is written by Virginia Woolf. It's a Cocker Spaniel is a kind of dog of Robert Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Yeah, Flush. Flush is absolutely right. Amrita is right. Flush is the work written by Virginia Woolf, which is about the dog of Elizabeth Barrett Browning. Okay, next move on to next question. 119. Which poem of T.S. Eliot presents the thoughts of an old man in the dry month? Thoughts of an old man. That means the narrator of this poem is an old man. The speaker is an old man. All these poems are written by T.S. Eliot: Ash Wednesday, Conversation, A Gallant Geronson, and Sweeney Among the Nightingales. Yeah, Vimla and Revati, both of you are right. Geronson is the poem which is narrated by an old man. And Sweeney Among the Nightingales is also a very important poem by T.S. Eliot. The title has been taken from Agamemnon, which is a very famous tragedy by classical author Aeschylus. The title of Sweeney Among the Nightingales is taken from Aeschylus' Agamemnon. But for this question, Gerontion is the right answer. Okay, now let's move on to question number 120. Identify the works which is not written by Somerset Maugham.
Sir, there is a request. Sir, can you maximize the screen a little bit, if it is
You can double
possible?
tap your screen to zoom in, because from my side this is the PowerPoint presentation, so it cannot be enlarged.
Okay, sir.
You can double tap your screen to zoom in.
Okay, sir.
The question is, which of the following works is not by Somerset Maugham? Corridors of Power. It is by C.P. Snow. Liza of Lambeth and Reger's Age. Both are by Somerset Maugham. An Appointment at Soar. There is no such work available. Rather, this work, The Appointment in Samara. This is a novel by Somerset Maugham, but it is a different title. So only B and C. B and C is only written by Somerset Maugham, which is not there in any of the option. So this question should come under controversial question. Okay, so we'll have to wait for the final answer key what they are giving. But only Liza of Lambeth and The Razor's Age, these are the two novels written by Somerset Maugham. Okay, let's move on to question number 121. Which of the following is Conrad's novel not set against the backdrop of seafaring, which is not about the sea voyages? Lord Jim, very famous for the sea voyages. Lord Jim is set in itself in the Red Sea. And there is a ship called Patna. And the protagonist is Charles Marlowe. Yes, Under the Western Eyes is absolutely right. Amrita, Somana, Vimla, all of you right. Under the Western Eye. Lord Jim, Typhoon, and the Rover. Lord Jim was published in the year exactly like 1900. Typhoon in the very next year 1902. The Rover in 1923. All these three novels are having a setting about the sea voyages. The Rover is set in the Mediterranean Sea. The rover is set in the Mediterranean Sea. And the title of this rover is taken from Edmund Spenser's Fairy Queen. The Rover title is taken from Edmund Spenser's Fairy Queen. And Under Western Eyes is having no setting with the sea voyages. Rather, it is set in more than 3-4 countries. One is St. Petersburg, Russia, Switzerland, Geneva. So these are the settings of Under the Western Eyes. So this is the right answer. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Question number 122. Who of the following authors is greatly appreciated French culture and submitted to willingly to the influences of French realism? In simple words, which author is influenced by the French realism? Arnold Bennett, Joseph Conrad, E.M. Forster, John Galsworthy. Okay, if you not have any idea, John Galsworthy resided in France for few years, and he worked during First World War in a hospital, and there he was totally influenced by the French realism, and he portrayed those French realism in his own poetry. So John Galsworthy is absolutely right. Yes, Sumana, Vimla, both of you are right. Okay, let's move on to another chronological question, question 123. Arrange these works in the chronological order. The first work is The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde. The Riders to the Sea by James Finch. Back to Methuselah, George Bernard Shaw. And Murder in the Cathedral, the tragedy by T.S. Eliot. Okay, so let me give you some more information. The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde. It is having another title, A Trivial Comedy for Serious People. The Importance of Being Earnest, a trivial comedy for serious people. That is the subtitle of this play by Oscar Wilde. The Riders to the Sea by James Finch. It's about the protagonist Moria, and the setting is in Aran Island. If I talk about Back to Methuselah, that is collection of 5 plays by George Bernard Shaw. 5 plays are there inside. You can go through the Google out what are all those 5 plays by George Bernard Shaw. It is not a play, it is a collection of play. Back to Methuselah in 1921. It was published in the year 1921. The Rider to the Sea in 1904. And The Importance of Being Earnest in 1895. And Murder in the Cathedral is 1935. Yes, all of you are absolutely right. The Importance of Being Earnest, Kavita, Sumana, Revati, all of you are right. The Importance of Being Earnest, 1895 is the first work. The Riders to the Sea by James Finch, the second one. Back to Methuselah by George Bernard Shaw, the third one. And Murder in the Cathedral by T.S. Eliot. So all of you are doing great. Let's move on to question number 124. Edward Thomas, W.H. Davis, and John Drinkwater were major writers of which period? Okay, so yeah, Georgian is absolutely right. But simultaneously, First World War, those who has marked as First World War is also the right option. Because Robert H. Ross has said that the war poets are the Georgian poets. He has called war poets as Georgian poets. So Edward Thomas, W.H. Davis, and John Drinkwater both are counted in the Georgian poet as well as the war poet. So if they have written war poet here, that was also right. But First World War is also right. But let's see what is the right answer in the official answer key. But basically, they are the Georgian poets. So Revati, Kavita, Sumana, Momita, all of you are right. Okay, next question number 125. Last question is hidden. Last option is hidden. That is John Masefield. The Dog Beneath the Skin, or Where is Frankis? This two titles. This play is having 2 titles. Yes, we have read in W.H. Auden and Christopher Isherwood, The Dog Beneath the Skin. Yes, all of you are right. Sumana, Kavita, Mamita, Vimla, Amrita, all of you are absolutely right. Let's move on to question number 126. American Civil War. Very easy question. Yes, again, all of you are right. It is 1861 to 1865 is the time of American Civil War, and Harry Beeker's so Uncle Tom's Cabin. This novel is regarded as the key origin for this war. This Uncle Tom's Cabin created a lot of uproar in America, and because of that, it is regarded as the origin, the genesis of this American Civil War. Okay, yeah. Next, move on to question number 127. Who coined the phrase "lost generation"? Again, a repeated question so many times. Yes. Yes, all of you are again right. Mamita, Amrita, Sumana, Vimla, Gertrude Stein is absolutely right. There are so many poets inside this: Ernest Hemingway, F. Scott Fitzgerald, uh, Gertrude Stein herself, T.S. Eliot, Ezra Pound. All of them are coming under the lost generation. But basically, this term was coined by Gertrude Stein. Who is the narrator in Melville's Moby Dick? Question 128. Narrator of Herman Melville's Moby Dick. Very easy question. The narrator says a very famous phrase, "Call me Ishmael." Call me Ishmael. Yes, Suman, absolutely right. Ishmael is the narrator of this novel. Yeah, Revati, Sumana, Vimla, Momita, all of you are absolutely right. Next, move on to question number 129. The representative figure of the judge is. Just now we have finished. One day, Momita has asked me, sir, what is judge is? So I feel you remember. Yes, absolutely right. F. Scott Fitzgerald is the Great Gatsby, very famous for a judge is novel. Other writers are William Faulkner, Gertrude Stein, Ernest Hemingway, Langston Hughes. These are the important figures of the jazz age or the jazz poetry, because during this age the jazz music was very popular in America. That's why this period is known as jazz age. Okay, this question number 130, a bit hazy. I'll read for you. When did Hemingway receive the Nobel Prize for Literature? Question number 130. Okay, I'll help you out. He got Nobel Prize in 1954. Okay, let's move on to question 131. I think I need to revise American literature very deeply. So I have got enough time because of the postponement of the exam. So we'll revise American literature definitely. Question number 131. What was the original title of Hemingway's novel, The Old Man and the Sea? So Ernest Hemingway has used two working titles. One was The Man and the Sea, and the other was Fisherman and the Sea, which is not there in any of the option. So all the options are absolutely wrong. This question should also come in the controversial list. He has used only two working titles. The first one was The Man and the Sea. After that, he has tried the second working title, Fisherman and the Sea, and finally he was settled with The Old Man and the Sea. So this question should be a controversial question. Let's move on to question number 132. Who says that Earth is the right place for love? a very famous line from a poem. The title of the poem is Birches, which we have read line by line in our class. Birches poem 1916. Yes, all of you are right. It's by Robert Frost. Question number 133. Saul Bellows Harjog. 1964. Moses Harjog is. This also we have read in our class. Harjog. I have taught this novel in complete detail. If you have not gone through, kindly go through. Moses Harjog. Yes, Sumana, Amrita, both of you are right. Moses is a Jew here. He is from a Jewish family. Okay, very good. Let's move on to question number 134. Which one is a great patriotic poem by Robert Frost? Mending Wall, Birches, The Gift Outright, and Directive. These are the four options. It's a bit hazy. That's why I'm reading for you. Which one is a great patriotic poem by Robert Frost? Whether it's a Mending Wall, Birches, The Gift Outright, or Directive. All these four poems by Robert Frost only. Mending Wall and Birches we have read in detail. So obviously these two are not the right option because there is no patriotic theme in these two poems. So the right answer is The Gift Outright. Revati is absolutely right. The Gift Outright is a patriotic poem which was written to be sung on welcoming John F. Kennedy. John F. Kennedy. But because of a heavy wind and a storm, this poem could not be read in that ceremony of John F. Kennedy. But it was written for that purpose only. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Central figure in Eugene O'Neill, The Hairy Ape. This question too we have read. Yes, Yank is absolutely right. Tanmay, Sumana, both are absolutely right. Yank is the central character protagonist of The Hairy Ape. Okay, let's move on to the next question, number 136. The central character in Hemingway's novel, The Old Man and the Sea. The Old Man and the Sea. It got Pulitzer Prize to Ernest Hemingway in the year 1953. And the central character is obviously Santiago, who is going for fishing in the sea, and he did not get any fish for 85 continuous days. And he was having an assistant whose name is Manolene. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Who is the narrator of F. Scott Fitzgerald's novel, The Great Gatsby? Great Gatsby. Caraway is the surname of the narrator. Yes, Momita, Revati, Amrita, all of you are right. Nick Carraway is the narrator of this novel by S. Scott Fitzgerald. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. Native Son. Who is the author? A lot of questions are asked just from author and the book name. So Richard Wright is absolutely right. All of you have given the right answer. Native Son is by Richard Wright. Next question, number 139. Which American poet is hailed as a representative poet of America? This too we have discussed in our class. Representative poet of America, very famous poet of America. Many poem collections written by him. Yes, Sumana, Amrita, Tanmay, Vimla, all of you are absolutely right. It is Walt Whitman. Next question, Absalom, Absalom. It's a novel written by. Another very easy question from American literature. Yes, it is by William Faulkner. That's absolutely right. Okay, next move on to the next question, number 141. Who wrote the poem Chicago? Another question from American literature. Chicago poem is written by Carl Sandburg. Carl Sandburg. That's right, Revati. Carl Sandburg is Absolutely right. Okay, next question. The first poem, The Road Not Taken, is included in which poetical collection? These two we have read in our class. I have discussed all the poems of Robert Frost. Which poem is taken from which collection? Two poem collection I have talked deeply. One is North of Boston and the second is Mountain Interval. And The Road Not Taken is from the Mountain Interval. You can go back to the PDFs and videos and you can find the right answer. Read in detail about Robert Frost and Walt Whitman. Very important from American literature. Okay, let's move on to question number 143. Arthur Miller's Death of a Salesman was premiered. That means it was staged in which year first? Whenever we talk about American literature, we cannot ignore Arthur Miller. It was premiered in the year 1949. For the first time, it was premiered in the year 1949. So this is the right answer. Okay, question number 144. The first black woman who won the Nobel Prize for Literature. She is from America, Afro-American. Afro-American women. Yes, all of you are absolutely right. Toni Morrison. Okay, it's the last slide of this question paper. 145. The fact that Claude McKay visited Russia in 1922 exemplifies the following theme of modernism. Claude McKay has written a travelogue when she made a visit to Russia. And there she has talked about the impact of the First World War that took place from 1914 to 1918 and a Bolshevik revolution. Bolshevik revolution that started in 1917, 1918. So all those impacts he's talking about in the travelogue. So the right answer is option number 3, the impact of World War I and the 1918 Bolshevik revolution in Russia. The next question, Rabbit Angstrom novels are written by. Rabbit Angstrom novels are written by. All of you are making a good guesses. Amrita, Sumana, both of you are absolutely right. John Updike is the right answer. Is John Updike is another American, very famous American author. Okay, next question is the function of protest poetry. One of the function of protest poetry. Yes, all of you are absolutely right. The protest poetry urging the African Americans to fight for their oppressors. Okay, next question. Sonia Sanchez, Write on White America. Write on White America. This is a poem by Sonia Sanchez. The main theme of this poem is she is trying to explain that America is still having a frontier mentality. They still differentiate between the black and the whites. Question number 149. The theme of Phyllis Wheatley. This is another American author. This is a very minor author, Phyllis Wheatley. On being brought from Africa to America. It is about the slaves are children of Cain. So Philip Wheatley was himself a slave. During his childhood, he he came from Africa to America as a child, and then he wrote his own autobiography on being brought from Africa to America. And there he said that the children are just like the children of Cain. Cain and Abel are the children of Adam in the Bible. So the third option is the right answer. And the last question, why is a couple in Arna Bontemps a summer tragedy getting dressed up? So this is about revolving around about the husband and the wife Arna Bontem's Summer Tragedy. They have chosen the summer season to end up their lives. They go to a riverside and they make suicide. So the right answer is to end their lives. Samrita, you're absolutely right. So these are the all 150 questions of RPSC. Some of questions are really very deep, but some are superfluous.